going on, bud?
Well, I was going to move the C10 in the shop so we can get started on swapping the motor, and it's trying to flood out again. It's set for a couple weeks with a dead battery. Now, of course, the carburetor's messed up.
So you need me to beat on the carburetor. Let me see if my rock's still in here. I tell you what, if this rock's still in here, I'll cry. It's still in here.
Still got the carburetor rock.
I love it.
Got the carb rock.
The carb rock, it's still here. Where am I beat? Oh my God. William, there's fuel everywhere.
No.
You're gonna catch me on fire. Oh my God. Bro, stop, just stop. This thing's now become a fire hazard. We now have a debacle on our hands.
Well, it looks like that's going to be the last time that little 307 runs. It's going to get pushed into the garage from here.
So it begins.
And so it begins. It is a sad day in the 307 world, coming out to never go back in again. This thing honestly ran pretty decent, but every couple months the carburetor would mess up on it.
See, I think we should have put a 300 shot on this thing and see how long it was gonna last.
It would have lasted -1 second.
Really? You don't think it would have gone
It
5
would have
feet?
immediately
How about a 150
broken
shot?
ringland. A 150 would last, yeah. But a 300, absolutely not. I'll tell you what, it probably would have taken a 300 shot to clean up the fuel. Because how bad it was flooding out.
You get the mixture right.
Yeah.
Had some nitrous.
Just leave it dry. It was so choked out.
The headers are nice. I'm probably gonna go to a bigger header, but those are nice. Could use them on maybe the other C10 because it's got manifolds and it sounds like rancid ass. It's got a good cam, but you can't really hear it because the manifold.
Blah, 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 blah.
As long as it's got a good anti-roll bar, that's all that matters, baby. I've seen a lot of messed up cars put a good anti-roll bar on them. Just like my Nova, we crashed it into the wall.
Dude, if you
None of the motor mounts lined
I
up.
showed it to him. If you stand in front of that thing, you can physically see the front wheels are farther over than the whole front end. It's goofy looking.
It's the baddest motherfucker I got.
Okay,
The
so
truck's pretty good too when it's behaving.
I know you said this thing's is going to be like a burnout machine, but
I'm gonna put some sticky tires on it.
you're going to put some slicks on it, and then it's going to literally Dom Toretto twist in half.
Yes.
It's
What
going
do
to
you
be
mean? We're gonna
awesome.
put an
I'll put an
anti-roll bar on it?
anti-roll bar on this too. Maybe for one pass we won't.
We'll look like Cletus in the freaking
Yes,
orange
dude.
Charger.
Yes. Can we do that and make that happen?
It's gonna twist.
It's a 2-link.
Yeah.
Where your bar angles at? Well, I got them in the only hole that exists.
Well, that's how Farm Truck was when they first brought it out. It didn't have an anti-roll bar. It was all stock suspension, but it would twist up and leave all crazy.
How the hell do you get that to work though? Like, what do these things do? They just squat, I guess?
No.
It's not like a leaf spring.
I don't know what their anti-squat percentage would be. We'll have to figure that out. We'll have to plot it in the calculator.
All about the bar angles, man.
It's definitely going to be loosey-goosey. I know that.
Billy, how many small block Chevys do you think you've pulled out in your lifetime? Over 50? This is including every one that you blew up in the S10.
I think we've pulled at least 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've pulled at least 50 in one season.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No, I think, hell, my first year, or first couple years, I think we pulled 6 or 8. Just blowing up like stock ones on nitrous. And we had a stock 400 in the truck for a while. We had some 383s. We'd put something in it in the meantime when we'd blow one up. We'd put a stalker in it just to have fun for a while, and then we'd blow up the good one when it came back, and then we'd put another stock one in it for a while because we couldn't stay down, man. We would just keep putting engines in it.
Kept going.
You just got to keep going. Yeah, at least this truck's really clean. Like, all this stuff is brand new. There's no rust. Everything comes loose easy.
Hide the wire cutters.
What wire cutters?
The one day we were taking out Tanner's dash, he just fucking starts cutting everything.
Dude, he was so worried about it. He was like, dude, aren't you going to use any of that? And I'm in there just snip, snip, snip. And I'm like, nah. Yeah, the whole, like, the internal harness.
That's what bracket racers do, dude. They take good running vehicles, they chop everything out, they put a diamond plate dash in there with a bunch of freaking auto meter gauges.
I'm gonna do it now.
And just a few switches from AutoZone is all you need. Ignition, fuel pump, water pump. That's all you need. Remember, they list them for sale.
Yep.
For 10 grand later.
Yep.
Can be easily put back on the street.
It's got a roll cage and everything else is cut out of it.
Hello.
Your father has called.
Yes.
He's on his way with Billy's engine from Bob's. And the drone went in a river. And he had to basically undress and go for a swim.
What? No.
So he told me to be ready with shoes and yeah. He said it was so deep he had to dive under to get it.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding.
Bro, how does he keep putting
He's
himself...
about to roll in soaking wet. Just letting you know, you might want to be ready.
Are you serious?
Yep.
We'll see if Bucko can fix water damage. Can you imagine if he did it all? Just did it all.
And it stayed recording the whole time? Imagine if it's underwater recording.
I doubt that.
Oh my god. It just sees your shirtless dad swim. Swimming to go get his drone.
Look like a walrus.
Polar bear.
A big old polar bear coming in hot.
That's cool. That's cool.
Why can't those things happen when someone's around with a camera? Hey, do you fix water damage?
Possibly.
Like electronic water damage?
Possibly. Looks like I'm gonna try.
So I guess Dad's gonna pull in here in a second.
Yeah, I'm to fly the drone and catch him coming in because his drone is drowned.
Drowned.
So the only drone in operation is Bucko's drone. Hello.
Went for a swim, huh?
Yeah, you know, I was driving up the road and come across this bridge and I looked down and the water just looked really good, and it's almost the end of summer and I haven't been swimming yet, so I thought, you know, go for a swim.
Nice. So it's a
really
good Monday.
Oh, it's a wonderful
It's been a great Monday.
It's been fantastic.
Hey, I mean, you're driving this badass El Camino and you got a freaking blower motor in the back.
Yeah, I mean, how could it be any better?
It's like you could be a calendar picture. You're literally a calendar picture right now.
I could be, yeah.
Looks like one of those wheelie machines with the
It
engine
does,
in the
doesn't
back.
It does look like a wheelie machine.
We're talking about how nice his Monday's been. He decided to stop and go for a swim. It's so nice out.
Yeah.
So
It's been a great day.
Which body of water did you bathe in?
The creek just north of Utica. I was coming across the bridge and I looked down and the water just looks so nice, and I haven't been swimming all summer. I thought, why not? At first I went down in, I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. It's not quite to my knees. And then I dropped off all the sandbar. and the drone was in water about 5 feet deep. I was down in there for like 15 minutes searching for this thing, right? So then finally, I'm just kind of looking around, and I just saw it. I'm like, holy shit, there it is. But I couldn't tell how deep it was, so I put my arm down in there, and I was clear to my chin, and I'm not even touching the bottom. So I was like, okay, here we go. So I dove in. Wasn't coming home without that memory card. If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough.
My brother, but he's your father.
Dad, I'm genuinely surprised at how well he's barefoot.
It's gonna have to dry out a little bit.
Put it in rice.
I need to borrow your drone so I can put my memory card in there and download my footage. Can I do that, please?
As long as you're not flying it.
There's the hood.
That's never going back on.
We're gonna cut that hood if it sticks up to where it won't close. We're gonna cut it and like make it look like we just slammed the hood down and all the parts just bolted up.
You think
So
we're
it's gonna
capable of that?
You don't have this out yet? Dude, Bucko can have this out in 30 minutes.
That's what he told me. I told him we started working on it 28 minutes ago. Am I attached to anything?
Looks like there's still some wiring attached to a coil.
There's a coil.
There she is.
Or maybe it's yours.
No, don't touch it. All right, let's see this beautiful drone footage that you got.
Oh, that was me, because they said you were coming from that direction, so I flew up and went down that way.
I said I didn't know what direction he's coming from.
Well, we assumed you were coming down 150.
So this is some real good footage. This is Bucko's drone footage.
You came from the wrong direction. You were supposed to call me 10 minutes
What difference does it make?
You were supposed to
And
call
gravel.
me 10 minutes before arrival.
What a waste of my time, Bucko.
You were supposed to call 10 minutes prior to arrival.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to film everything at once, but like you got this going on over here, you got this fucking debauchery, and Chevy's just like sitting there judging all of us.
Gotta go. One more pump. Hold on, pull it out, Billy.
Oh yeah. So you guys took some measurements, huh?
Yeah, the carb is definitely going to be above the hood. The blower may be sticking up a little bit along with the pulley. That's fine. Make that one too. That one's really obnoxious.
Dude, that one's like gonna be like up here.
me see.
That's like the Australian burnout car one.
Bro, it's gonna look like an Aussie burnout machine.
Well, we got the engine out. Now we wait for parts to come in. We got a Turbo 400 up at Vickers we need to go get. We've got a converter, a perfect converter we need to go get. Got a few things at Jegs that we need to go get. Ignition system, fuel system stuff, flex plate, little stuff. Hopefully by the end of this week, maybe next week, we can get this engine in it, get the new trans and converter in it, and maybe we can hear it run by the end of next week with the new motor. How fast do you think it's gonna go? Like if it hooks?
It's not gonna hook. What did the engine dyno?
It made 840 with zero tuning.
It made 840?
840 with zero tuning.
How many pounds of boost is that blower making? 10 pounds? What the hell?
But it might make 12.
And what cubic inch is it?
It's 408 cubic inches. Yeah, and that was at 28 degrees of timing, so we hadn't even snuck timing into it yet. That was just like our base starting point. And we didn't even have all the vacuum ports hooked up on the carburetor.
Okay, so if it goes, it's a 9-second truck at least.
I would agree. It would have to be a 950 truck.
I can already see this is gonna spiral out of hand.
You think we can sneak up on some people?
Well, when you have the big bug catcher out of the hood, I don't think you're gonna sneak up on anybody. I think you embrace it.
Just embrace it.
Yeah. And then you put bead locks on
My
it.
original thought was, let's make it a sleeper, you know, and let's hide it under the hood. That's why I got the mini blower, but obviously it's not mini enough.
No.
So now
Can
I'm
you
like,
put the engine any lower in here?
Not really. And I don't really want to anyway, because then it won't work as good. If anything, I'd like to raise it. All right, guys, so we're back at the shop today. We're doing a little 4-link video. We've been struggling with the Falcon a little bit on some of the trickier surfaces lately. It's not as consistent as it used to be. And part of that is, you know, the fact that we're a different combination this year. Part of that is converter changes, but we've also made some 4-link changes that we thought would help it on faster tracks, but it ended up just making it really inconsistent on some of the shittier surfaces like backsides and street stuff. So we're gonna plot out the 4-link today using 10 Soldiers 4-link calculator and hopefully make a adjustment that will make it a lot better in the future. Okay, so this is 10 Soldiers website. On their website, they have a free 4-link calculator that works really well. They also sell a lot of really nice parts, so definitely go check them out. If you have a vehicle with a 4-link, this is a lifesaver. I've used this thing for the Nova, I've used it for the Falcon, and it really is good. It's probably one of the best free 4-link calculators I've seen. So they've got all these things you have to input. So we're gonna go ahead and start measuring. I already know the vehicle's wheelbase is 109. We're gonna measure the crankshaft height now. The crankshaft height from the ground is approximately 15 and 3/4.
What'd you do with the straight edge?
It's right here.
Oh, you got me help.
I'm going ground to rear bottom hole, 9 1/4.
Okay, so what did you measure on the other ones? You used this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, there's only like an 1/8 of an inch difference from this to this.
So you're using this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing. Just start doing this. Check it again.
And 9 1/4. 18. All right, so this is what this calculator's saying. 83%.
What? Anti-squat?
Yep.
No.
It's saying.
That's not how we set it. When we measured
Well,
before,
it's
it was
gotten lower.
108. So you're telling me that when we put shocks on it and adjusted the right eye is not too far off of what we had, right? I mean,
Well, the lower bar is level. It wasn't level before. It's really not squatting. Like, it's just kind of staying there. And I don't know if that's because it's a triangulated deal, but with those numbers, it should definitely squat.
it separates a 1/2 inch off the button and then does fuck all down the track.
See, I think that's because the
top
upper bar.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what happens if we do this. If your rear end separates 1/2 inch off the button, let's check it dynamically by putting a 1/2 inch in these two measurements, because your chassis would raise up 1/2 inch in your rear end. Yeah, so when you let off the button, your instant center moves 87 inches out, pretty much like where your engine is. It has really good stability out the back. It's got really good leverage, but through the middle, there's nothing really trying to plant the tire. You have to put in a lot of horsepower to get the leverage of these bar angles. Like, you have to put in a lot of power to make that work. And it's just not gonna work for a low power backside or street situation. This is like what you'd put in a big tire car.
Big tires and wheelie bars.
The problem with that short upper bar is dynamically when you let go of the button, instant center and anti-squat numbers change so much. Like, if you watch 10 Soldiers video, they show you at like 2 inches of separation, a Mustang 4-link set up at around 120% anti-squat ends up being like 70% anti-squat, and like the instant center link is like 200 inches
So
out
actually,
there.
the anti-squat percentage goes down.
Yeah. So it literally can only separate for so long before that upper bar just won't let it go anymore. And I think it might work the same way for squatting, you might only be able to just squat it so far before, but with that longer upper bar, like my Nova has a really long forelink, and I think that's why mine, it is so much different than yours.
I agree. I mean, there's nothing different about this car that we can't put it back to where it was. Like,
Oh yeah, we know what works. We know what works.
but clearly trying to lower the anti-squat is just, the car is getting worse and worse.
Yeah. So we need to put some more anti-squat back in it. Obviously, it was 83% based on this calculator, and the instant center length was like 60 inches. You know, as soon as you let go of the button, it gets worse. So we're gonna have to figure out a happy medium to where it makes it separate. And let's go back to
Like
a
really old.
data log from like when I was at the pad.
Oh, here's the thing is like,
It's hitting bumps.
it's hitting bumps. But yeah, I mean,
But
it actually,
overall, it separates.
but it still is pretty much done at 1.8 in the run. It's
But
done.
that's good.
It's better
You can
than
get it to separate for 1.8 seconds rather than a quarter of a second or half a second.
Yeah,
That's
I
way
mean,
better.
that's what I've been dealing with is it stopped separating so quick into the run, and then it just kind of noses over. Let's look at, I want to look at back when it was at 180%.
Do the rewind.
That looks a lot like what we just looked at in your Nova where,
Yeah.
so, but it was done in half a second. It separated from,
But it really pounded the tire into the ground.
yeah, we were starting at 3.7. That means our ride height has changed since then too,
3.7 to 5.5, about 2 inches.
but in half a second. Like that's
It was
a
pounding
lot.
the tire into the
Yeah.
ground.
See, so what we need to do is with the upper bar. Like if we could get it to separate like this again, but make
longer.
this point happen here at 2 seconds. If we can make that happen, I don't know how to do that, but if we just need to put that on the screen.
A lot of that's also shock settings.
I love that converter flash too. We had a really good,
Yeah,
we had a really good combination back then.
It flashed in 0.7.
Just flashing to 6,700.
Yep.
Is shifting at 75 and goes down to 7. Dude, that's like, oh, we had such a good combination.
It was pretty loose though. I mean, you were only at
Yeah, but that shit
22
works.
pounds of boost.
That shit works on
It
stuff
does.
like that.
It does work on junk surfaces. But we were trying to go faster. That's why we put a bigger engine in this thing and bigger turbos and tighten the converter. We just got a little lost along the way.
It's because that dumbass started tuning it. Has Billy tuned yet? Has Billy
We've
tuned yet?
got Gina's race coming up. We're really going to need some anti-squat for
Fuck
that.
it. Put it at 200%.
I don't think that's the answer. I think somewhere around 130 to 150 is probably going to be good.
Yeah.
What we've got now, I'm surprised you were doing what you were doing.
Junk bar angles and broken front struts.
Let's see what
on
it
like
was
520.
let's see the hole in Atlanta because it worked really good then.
The hole.
5.4.
Reliving some glory days over here.
Separates an inch and a half.
Remember when my car used to work and then I started tuning?
I don't think it's necessarily so much just your tuning. I don't think it's happy with those bars.
So this is when Billy, wait, don't quiz this out. This is when Billy raced that Porsche in Atlanta, that blue one. It actually was, so when this purple line is the shock data, and when it goes up, that's separating. It was separating an inch and a half in like half of a second. What it does now is it literally just separates a half inch off the button and then returns back to ride height and does that bounce. And then after that, it just rides bumps. I mean, I get no separation down track.
Here's a data log from this past race.
Which he made a point. Part of that is because it's a triangulated forelink and my upper bar is that long, right?
This is from this past race. That's all it does.
Yeah, look at that.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I can't make that work. Okay, so we can sit here and ponder the glory days all we want. Let's fucking make it do that again, please. Or not that, but the last data log.
All right. This right here is where we were when we first got the car. Right? This right here is where we were last season. So, I mean, both of these holes worked pretty good, but it just depends how crazy you want to get with the anti-squat.
Okay, but look at the upper bar. So you're telling me that when that goes, that's trying to get horizontal, right? And it will never go past horizontal. So that thing only has to go down an inch until it's horizontal. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to try putting this down on the chassis side, like a decent bit.
Lower this one hole and maybe lower this one 1 hole.
I say 2 up top. Like, look, I can slow it down from separating with the new shocks.
Why
but
don't we plot it? Let's plot it in the calculator with that hole, and then we'll plot it with 2 holes down. Let's see.
I think that's our problem, is like it can't go as far as I want it to go. It physically can't separate past that far. I want to do something that we can like really see a difference. That's all.
Well, ideally, we need to make a change that makes sense as far as instant center length and height.
Yeah.
So our number 8 is now 18. Let's see what it is if we lower it 2 holes. So if we move the upper bar down 2 holes,
16 and like
3/8. So this is why that short upper bar is so finicky. So just moving that down 2 holes makes your anti-squat 200%, and your instant center length is only 26 inches.
yeah.
Chicken fries,
Chicken fries. Lots of chicken fries.
8.5.
Uh-oh. Ooh, 158.
That's actually.
I think that's kind of between where we were when we first got the car and it started working real good, and where it was like last season. I think that's going to separate really good, but not super fast.
See, now
I just want to see how far 38 inches out is. So your instant center is about right here.
right where my ass is. That's where my ass is, right there.
Is it?
Yeah, instant center right in my ass.
Yeah.
Just
It's trying to
put my ass
pick up the car from your ass.
from my ass. Yeah, exactly.
Now, if we were to lower both the lower and the upper, your instant center would be right here, which is about
Ass crack.
5 inches behind your ass.
Legit.
It's all just numbers. You really just need to move it and see what it does.
Okay, scenery change.
Yeah, so we figured out that it's a lot easier to do this. Change angles when the rear end's hanging.
All right, so we got the bar angles changed. And
Yep.
you ended up finding some ickiness. Some of our heims are not very heimy. So
Yeah, some of the spherical ends, they're seized up, so that could be a problem. So we're gonna get some 10 Soldiers is gonna send us some on Monday.
call Jason, huh?
But for now, we're just gonna rock it the way it is.
All right, guys, so we're getting ready to make another hit. This is our third hit now. We started off on the one street that we usually make a hit on. The street just ain't really been hitting right lately. I don't know if it's because we suck or the street sucks, but not a lot of good luck with that street. So we pretty much left it alone and went to our other better spot. I'm genuinely surprised it didn't go. I felt like I didn't have that much in it. I mean, trying to do something, but Billy said it might have been too hot, and he has returned to his duties on my laptop. So I'm fired temporarily. He hopped on the laptop and he put a tune-up in it. It's probably going to be our Charmin Ultra Soft, based off of what I saw. But lately I've been too spicy, so we got to meet somewhere in the middle. But hopefully it goes down this time.
That's what my tune-ups do.
Fucking get Tommy off the laptop.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry, buddy. It was singing up top too.
That thing was ripping.
Well, it finally went down. Have you guys ever been fired from your job before? 'Cause that was a first for me. I got fired today. Rub it in, everybody. Rub it in. I think a lot of times, I think recently, I get in my own head about not putting enough in it because I've lost a lot of races by being too conservative. But I think I've gotten a little lost over the, since we put the 388 in. Just a little lost. We tried so many converters. Recently we had bent struts, which that was kind of throwing me off. I didn't even know it was. Everything's different, and it seems like we're changing something on this thing every other weekend, and we don't test a lot. We really don't test a lot, and that can hurt on race day. So, but we're trying to do better. I think we made good progress tonight. We ended up going back to this thing's at 170%, 175% anti-squat. I feel like before with the 108%. With triangulated 4-link, we were trying to get it to squat and it just wasn't working, but it was worth a try. When we first bought the car, Billy put it at 180%, worked really well. And then we went down to 130 and then 108, and it just obviously wasn't liking it. But, we're trying stuff. You gotta try stuff to try and get faster. I feel like for a long time we were getting stagnant, so hello. Just telling everybody how I got fired today.
It's easy to get lost, dude. We've made so many changes. Sometimes you have to go back to the very beginning and look at where you're at and say, hey, let's just turn this thing down a little bit, go A to B, get a baseline. And I think our baseline was pretty fast.
Yeah,
so
we just so happened to nailed it.
It could have taken a little more down low maybe, but I just wanted to go A to B and just get a baseline.
We're just trying to get back on track. I'm happy with that last pass. I think we made a good step.
Well, Thomas's phone died, but we're going to end this video with that. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for going on this journey with us, and we'll see you next time.
#FireTommy.